When Karen tried to ban my golden retriever Max from the neighborhood, she didn't just mess with a dog. She messed with the entire community's heart. What she saw as a filthy mutt was actually the one thing bringing everyone together. But I wasn't about to let her cruelty go unchecked. So I dug deep into the HOA's own rules, ran for board president, and let's just say, Max's new title left Karen howling. You're going to love this one. The dog she couldn't tolerate. Max wasn't just a pet. He was practically a neighborhood mascot. My golden retriever had been with me through divorce, relocation, job loss, and even a cancer scare. Wherever I went, Max followed. Friendly, calm, and absolutely obsessed with kids, Max would sit patiently by my porch every afternoon, waiting for the school bus. The moment kids would spill out, they'd run straight to him, throwing their backpacks aside and hugging him like he was their own. But then came Karen. Karen had just moved into the neighborhood 6 months ago and instantly made her presence known. She was the type who stormed into HOA meetings, demanding action, handed out citations like Halloween candy, and acted like she personally founded the homeowners association. It started subtly. One morning I found a note tucked under my door. Your dog is not leashed properly. This violates HOA Regulation 7A. Max was tied to a post on my private property, nowhere near the sidewalk. I let it slide. Then came the anonymous complaints. Barking, he barely barked. Being too large, he's a medium-sized retriever. Shedding. He didn't even shed that much. I brushed him daily, and once for looking menacing. Looking menacing. Max once let a baby squirrel climb on his head and just blinked. The straw that broke the camel's back came during the summer barbecue. I hosted a small neighborhood cookout, families, kids, hot dogs, cornhole, the works. Max, as always, was there, greeting everyone like the unofficial greeter of the HOA. Karen showed up late, in heels, with a clipboard. "Is that your dog?" she asked, lips pursed tighter than her yoga pants. "Yes, Karen, that's Max," I said, handing a burger to one of the kids. She squinted. "He's not wearing a muzzle. That's an HOA violation. You'll be hearing from us." She wasn't joking. 2 days later, I got a formal letter from the HOA stating that due to repeated violations, Max was no longer allowed in public HOA common areas, which included sidewalks, the park, and even the dog-friendly community garden. I was furious. I requested a meeting. Karen, now self-appointed compliance chair, refused. So I did what any dog-loving, rule-reading, injustice-hating person would do. I dug up the HOA bylaws, and there it was, the key. Apparently, HOA elections hadn't been held in 4 years. Members had been rotating roles informally, but the rules required annual elections, which meant every position was technically invalid, even Karen's. And right there in the bylaws, something incredible jumped out at me. Any member in good standing may nominate a representative pet as an honorary board member if approved by majority community vote. I blinked. I reread it 3 times. It was originally written for a former board member's parrot, an odd clause never removed, but it was still active. A plan began to form. First step, I wrote a formal motion calling for immediate elections citing bylaw violations. Karen dismissed it naturally, but when I handed out flyers quoting the exact bylaw text, things changed. Residents started asking questions. Many of them were tired of Karen's petty complaints. Some had even been fined over grass being too green or flags being too bright. Support swelled. I filed again, this time backed by 36 homeowner signatures. The HOA had no choice. An election was scheduled in 2 weeks. I ran for HOA president and for the honorary pet representative seat, Max. I made little campaign signs that read, "Max for morale, a positive future." They were everywhere. The kids made posters, Max wore a tie, even the local vet offered free grooming for his big debut. Karen was livid. She tried to challenge the motion, but she had no legal leg to stand on. And the election? Well, that's where it gets really good. Title: She tried to ban my dog from the neighborhood. I made him HOA president. Max's victory and Karen's meltdown. The day of the HOA election felt more like a neighborhood festival than a board vote. Families gathered in front of the community hall. Kids wore little Vote Max pins. One of the teens had even made a TikTok of Max campaigning, which had gotten over 8,000 views overnight. Karen, meanwhile, stood in the corner, arms crossed, clipboard gripped like a weapon of war. She wore a tight gray pantsuit and a permanent frown. Her own campaign signs, if you could call them that, were stark black and white printouts taped to telephone poles with "Vote Karen for order" scrawled across them in Comic Sans. I gave my speech first. I didn't make it about me. I made it about community. "Neighbors," I began, "we've lived under arbitrary rules and threats of fines. But it's not the rules that bind us. It's how we treat each other. This community used to be about smiles, handshakes, barbecues, and shared moments, not yard citations and barking complaints. I'm running to restore that spirit. And yes, Max is running too. He's not just a dog, he's the heart of this neighborhood." That got cheers. Karen stepped up next. She tapped the mic like she was conducting a congressional hearing. "If elected," she began stiffly, "I will restore law, order, and decorum to this neighborhood. The bylaws exist for a reason. Pets don't belong on the board, and unruly elements, be they animals or owners, need to be reminded of their place." Someone coughed. "Boo ring." A couple kids giggled. After the speeches, the ballots were passed around. The vote was simple: HOA president, Karen or me. Honorary pet representative, Max or other. It wasn't even close. I won by a landslide. 89 votes to 14. Max got 97 votes. The only person who didn't vote for him was Karen, and possibly her cat. The crowd erupted in cheers. Someone popped confetti. Max barked once, wagged his tail, then promptly rolled onto his back, demanding belly rubs. Karen stormed off mid-announcement, red-faced and muttering about legal appeals. But rules were rules, and for once the community had spoken. The following week, I took office as the new HOA president. My first order of business: revised the pet clause to make honorary pet representative a permanent position with symbolic voting power in board meetings. Max got his own little nameplate at the HOA table. MAXEWEL.MAX, honorary HOA pet representative, voice of the people, and bark of justice. We even gave him a squeaky toy gavel. Next, I implemented new rules. No citations without physical evidence or board review. Fines must be approved by at least 3 board members. All residents had the right to dispute any citation in an open meeting. Karen's clipboard was officially banned unless used for bingo. Karen tried to object, but she wasn't even on the board anymore. That didn't stop her from trying to cause chaos. A week later, she filed a citizen's complaint that Max intimidated her when he sat outside her lawn during his walk and sneezed loudly. Yes, she literally filed a formal complaint over a sneeze. Max, unbothered, spent the next day wagging at joggers, licking toddlers' faces, and taking selfies with teens. Our little community transformed. Barbecues returned. Sidewalk chalk contests popped up again. Karen's reports were filed straight into the grievance bin, a literal trash bin we repurposed as HOA decor, labeled in gold marker. The funniest moment? At the next HOA meeting, a resident stood up and said, "I'd like to motion that Max receive a yearly Best Neighbor award." The motion passed unanimously. We threw Max a party. He wore a bow tie. Karen didn't attend. But the biggest moment, the real revenge, came when a local community newspaper caught wind of the whole thing. They ran a feature titled "The Dog Who Became President: How One Golden Retriever United a Neighborhood." It went viral. TV stations called, local news showed up. Max's Instagram, yes, I made one, hit 10,000 followers within a week. People across the country were cheering him on. Some even sent dog treats in the mail. That's when Karen had her ultimate meltdown. She showed up at a board meeting with a folder of printed comments from Facebook and shouted, "This dog has turned this neighborhood into a joke." I calmly said, "No, Karen. Max turned this neighborhood into a home again." Mic drop. She stormed out again, and this time, she didn't come back. In the weeks that followed, Karen sold her house. The new owners, a young couple with a Great Dane named Charlie. Max and Charlie became fast friends. They'd sit together on the lawn like old souls sipping lemonade, watching the kids run wild. The HOA stronger than ever. We had game nights, movie nights, dog-friendly days in the park. People started smiling more, talking more. A single act of pettiness had given us a reason to rebuild everything we'd lost. All thanks to Max, my loyal, goofy, golden boy. And while his presidency was mostly ceremonial, his impact was real. People listened more, judged less, and remembered what it meant to live in a neighborhood where even a dog had a voice. Oh, and that rule Karen tried to use to ban pets from public areas? We rewrote it. Now it reads, "Pets are not just welcome in this neighborhood, they're part of the family." If you love stories where the good boys win and Karens get humbled, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We've got plenty more neighborhood drama, revenge, and heartwarming tales coming your way.